Hey, how's it going? And welcome to another video. Alright, so I was recently sent a press demo for a fascinating little video game called Eternights. Wow, I'm a member of the press, you guys. But yeah, this is an upcoming game being developed by Studio Psy. And when I got the email kind of describing the game, I felt a great compulsion to play it because it sounded so weird. It is a Persona-inspired action game slash dating sim, which just sounds like the most weird concoction of stuff ever. I tend to be a fan of sort of weird games that are these blends of genres that you would think don't go together. So this seemed like something that would be right up my alley. And yeah, they wasn't lying. This is, in fact, a Persona-inspired dating sim action game. If you would like to check it out for yourself, there is a demo available on Steam right now. So you can go see if this seems like something that'd be up your alley, but yeah, personally, I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm always down to play interesting, just like weird sort of experimental stuff. And it also seems pretty self-aware, which is a big plus for me. Like, it seems like the developers kind of get that this is a sort of a silly concept, and so they're just rolling with it and having a good time. Like, the game begins with you and your homie Chani creating a dating profile for the main character. Like, I was genuinely laughing at the intro, because it was just so much more, like, self-aware than I was expecting it to be. Chani for sure gives off that kind of, like, Persona best bro sort of energy. I feel like he was definitely very inspired by, especially probably, like, Yosuke and Junpei. And the game has some pretty good voice acting. Like, whoever's doing the voice of Chani, I really liked his performance from what I saw of him. But yeah, after you guys have put together a dating profile, you sit down to watch TV, and you get to see Chani simming for this idol that he likes. Then he heads out and starts texting you, and immediately, this game is blowing Persona 5 out of the water, because the text messages that you received actually have voice acting. So yeah, kind of a big L for Atlas there. And then you're introduced to the gameplay, so it definitely feels very Devil May Cry and Bayonetta inspired. Like, one of the abilities that I had access to was the Stinger, like, literally just the Devil May Cry Stinger. I don't know, I kind of respect the hustle of that. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just, they just straight up copied the Stinger. And you can also feel a lot of the Bayonetta inspiration because one of the big mechanics is perfect dodging. Basically, when you dodge enemies' attacks perfectly, you'll enter this slowed down state, which is really similar to Witch Time from Bayonetta, and you can just wail on the enemies. So yeah, it seems like that's what a lot of the meta of the combat revolves around, is timing those dodges. Personally, I found it was a lot easier to kind of wait for the enemies to come to me than dodge, since the enemies can still attack even while you're hitting them. So it can be pretty hard to be wailing on the enemies and then like anticipate a dodge. So that's what I found worked out best for me. And yeah, the gameplay seems fun. Like, obviously what I had access to was a pretty limited selection of what your character is going to be fully capable of doing. And yeah, it was fun. It kind of reminds me of Killer is Dead, if anybody's played that game. And there's a lot of cool shit that your character can do, since you end up with this malleable energy arm. One of the mechanics in the game is that certain enemies will have these, like, barriers, and you need to use this barrier-piercing attack to get through. And so when you're wailing on him, sometimes he'll, like, turn his arm into a chainsaw and stuff like that. So hopefully the full game has more of that kind of stuff. I think that shit's really cool. You should just turn your arm into a chainsaw. Also, the, like, apocalypse is happening, and the world has become surrounded by giant, inescapable walls. And there's also a zombie outbreak, which is turning people into these mindless monsters. So there's a lot happening. And yeah, you can definitely feel a lot of the Persona inspiration. Like, for example, there's a day-to-day system that's going on. Time moves in increments of days. You have social stats that increase throughout the game. Sometimes in combat, you'll see a cut-in that's basically just like the Persona 4 and Persona 3 cut-ins you'll get sometimes when you hit an enemy. Visually, the game is interesting, so a lot of the environments look really, really nice. Like, when you're in combat, there's all these cool kind of particle effects and interesting lighting going on. The first area especially has a lot of these dank subway tunnels that are lit up by neon signs. So it definitely gets good usage out of the, like, colors and the lighting in the environments. The actual character models look fine, but they kind of have this sort of homemade VTuber look to them. But I don't really mind it. I'm not really like a stickler for graphics or whatever. This isn't like a AAA studio, so I don't know. I kind of like them. They're sort of charming in a way. I like the way that Chani's mouth moves. It's fun to watch him talk. And then, of course, we have the actual dating sim elements, which I didn't get to see a whole lot of in the demo, but it seems like the full game is going to have a pretty big selection of options. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of that, and what sorts of characters the game will introduce. And the relationships you end up forming will actually make a difference in combat. For example, it seems like making progress in certain girls' social links or whatever will let you unlock new abilities. So it does tie back into the gameplay in some way. So yeah, it was fun. It seems like an interesting sort of concept. Kind of a schlocky, just like sort of out there idea for a game. Seems like something that's going to be worth checking out if you like Persona or just these sort of strange, almost like experimental video games. And it's also a studio-sized debut game, so I think it's worth checking out just based on that alone. Like, game development is really difficult. So being able to create pretty much anything, I think, is deserving of praise. Especially kind of coming out the gate with such a weird idea, I think is pretty commendable. So yeah, check out Eternights. There's a demo available. I will most likely be getting it when the game comes out. Seems cool. Thank you again to Studio Sai for sending me the press demo to check out. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. See you guys next time.